While the excitement builds for the English Premier League to get going again, our favourite Premier League is entering its final stages as the Faroese League hurries into its final third. No new £60 million signings here. For the price of one Pedro Neto, you could probably buy the whole Faroese League. In fact, Lenny Yoro plus Dominic Solanke roughly equals one brand new 11km undersea tunnel. Anyway, with everyone having played 18 games and played each other twice, it is Vojtinga Goethe out in front, and with 17 wins from 18 you might assume it's in the bag, but it's by no means a done deal. They're 6 points ahead of HB and 9 points ahead of Klaksvík. Lose to both of these title rivals in the next couple of months and the championship will be wide open. But it's Vojtinga Goethe who have the momentum and the goal scoring behind them, and have won their last 9 games with an aggregate score of 30-2. HB were keeping the chase close until a surprise 1-0 defeat to relegation contenders B68 Toftir, who won just their second game of the season. We need a word for goals scored from teams messing up, playing out from the back, and I want to suggest a Bartalklein. Oh no, they've totally Bartalkleined that. This loss was followed immediately by a 2-0 defeat to Vojtinga to put the brakes on HB's charge. They did, however, beat Klaksvík 3-0. With Klaksvík losing to Vojtinga a couple of weeks earlier, it meant that they had lost twice in 3 games, something they haven't experienced in the league for 6 years. Despite this, they won all the rest, including this goal of the season contender, which spent longer in the air than the Mykonos helicopter. Paul Kletzkar is leading the top scorers chart again with 16 goals in 18 games, 4 more than Archie Samuelsson of HB and Peter Knudsen, who is helping to guide NSI Runavík to 4th. It's remarkable to think NSI actually got relegated the season before last. This position in the top 4, top 5 is certainly where we're used to seeing them. They're a long way off 3rd place, but certainly leading the charge of best of the rest, with some impressive wins, including a 3-0 against Skala, a 4-1 against Toftir and a 4-0 against 07 Vesta. B36 are a further 8 points behind, and it looks like they will need to win the Faroe Islands Cup in November if they're to secure European football next summer. They were briefly down to 6th below 07 Vesta, but Vesta picked up no points from their last 3 games to drop back into the bottom half. One of those defeats was to B68 Toftir, who, along with that surprise 1-0 Bartalklein win over HB, now sit on 3 wins for the season and have elevated themselves out of the bottom 2. B68 Toftir are no strangers to late surges to survival, and it looks like they may be on the cusp of another one. They sit on 14 points and on goal difference sit just above Skala. Now, I praised newly promoted Skala in my last video for their bright start and the potential they had to stay up safely, but they've only picked up 4 points in the last 10 games and sit 8th. One of those defeats in that long run was to relegation rivals EB Stramer, who are surprisingly struggling against the drop this year. If your unlucky number is 4, then look away now. They are 4 points below the relegation line, and their last 4 defeats were all 4-0 to the top 4 in the league. Bottom of the pile by a long way and almost certainly doomed are OIF, who are still awaiting their first win and have lost their last 8. Disappointingly for them, a lot of these defeats are close matches. 1-0 to EB Stramer, 1-0 to 07 Vesta, 1-0 to HB, 4-3 to B36. They even took the lead against Klaksvík before falling to a narrow 2-1 defeat. Apart from a 6-0 to Vojtinga, they're not really getting spanked week in week out, but they're 11 points adrift now, and it looks impossible to bring this one back. Jakob Martin Jonsson, brought in at the start of the season, has been dismissed, and his assistant, Olaf Larsson, will take the reins until the end of the season. Here's the table. You'll note it's exactly how I described. It might look like OIF are doomed, but let's take a quick look at the second division. Vojtinga and B36's second team lead the way. FC Suðuroy are only outside promotion places on goal difference by a single goal, so it's not over yet at all, but if the ineligible for promotion B teams occupy both promotion places, OIF may get a reprieve. Last time this happened was in 2019, when, by quirk of coincidence, EB Stramer were 9th and OIF were 10th, but neither got relegated due to no eligible team finishing in the top 2. But of course, B68 Toftir famously got promoted after finishing 4th, so a playoff may be needed to get someone promoted. With the second division so close, we'll keep an eye on things at the end of the season. Let's quickly talk about Klaksvík in Europe, because unfortunately the Europa League dream is over in a heartbreaking fashion as Bosnia and Herzegovina's Borac Banja Luka beat them in extra time. A 2-1 win in the first leg gave Klaksvík the edge, and the second leg in Bosnia also ended 2-1, but to Banja Luka. In extra time, the legs ran out. Not literally, they just ran out of energy, and Banja Luka scored a decisive third to advance in the Europa League. But as Klaksvík said, they prefer the Conference League anyway. They will play Finnish champions HJK for a spot in the Conference League group stage. HJK have played Faroese teams twice before in Europe, a 7-0 win over B71 Sandoy in the Cup Winners' Cup in 1994, and more recently a 5-2 win over HB in the Champions League in 2019. Klaksvík will be doing everything to stop them securing that hat-trick in their first ever tie against a Finnish side. While I'm talking overseas, I also want to take this opportunity to give a quick shout out to near Nordic neighbours as the Greenlandic League started and finished this week. Over on the KNR Live YouTube channel you can watch full-length games from the beautiful backdrop of Disco Island, including N48 vs B67 and of course IT79 vs UB83, the classics. It's a wild wintry 1-week league which makes the Betvidjautin look like La Liga. Right, that's that. If Klaksvík beat HJK, I'll do a rundown of the group stage, but if they don't, I'll be too sad and probably won't bother with the video at all. So I'll see you next time, whenever next time might be. Thanks for watching!